Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ask Ruth Column. Here, we seek answers that are seeking us. Again, I would like to welcome you to the Ask Ruth Column. I am your host, Ruth Cassell. This is a community where we can grow our relationship together in all aspects of life. Some of us are seeking answers to questions. And when we're seeking answers to questions, those questions are actually seeking us. So some of the topics and some of the questions that we ask ourselves a lot of times are uncomfortable. It's okay to have those uncomfortable conversations. See, the only way that you learn something new is when you are uncomfortable. And sometimes when we're asking these complex questions, we need to be uncomfortable to learn and grow. So a little bit of background about me is that I hold many licenses, and we're not going to sit here all day and talk about my licenses, but as we move through our journey and grow our relationship in our community together, you'll get to discover what most of those are. You know that I am a health and life and financial coach. And something that I found very interesting when coaching clients in any one of those particular fields was that it came down to the relationship with the issue or the topic around what they were experiencing with. I can't go into detail on that, but it was a relationship that they had with the issue. And I think a lot of times I feel that's where a lot of people nowadays especially are just maybe confused on the overall relationship. So that's what we're going to focus on here. But there's many different aspects of relationship. Like I said, this channel is going to focus on relationships, and we are going to start those relationships with our spiritual, financial, health and wellness, parenting and family life, fitness, and career. So a lot of people, when I coach on anything, they're always, the same question always comes up in every field, and they always ask, well, where do I start? How do I start? Or what do I need to do to start? What we need to do here first is look at the simplicity of it. And sometimes simplicity can be complex. I know. I said we need to look at the simplicity of it, and then I also said that they can be complex. But it can. Just because something is simple doesn't mean that it's not complex or not rooted in some other belief that we've had about oneself. So, and as we grow in our community here, you're going to get to learn more about these aspects. But again, I am just welcoming you to the channel today. So let's just talk about the topic and the main focus of this channel and the relationships that we have with these areas. So I think it's best to look at things in a different perspective. And in order to do that, we need to know what the root of the word is. And I know you're probably thinking, why are we reading this? Remember, we're keeping it simple. We're going to simplicity here. So we're going to look up the actual meaning, the definition of relationships. Relationships. The way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected or in a state of being connected. So that's what the word relationship means. So now that we know the simplicity of it, now we're going to look at the complex siding of it. And some of the complexity of it is, knowing what the, similarities or some of the other words that can mean the same thing as relationship. And some of the similars can be connection, relation, association, parallel, bond. And this is just to list a few. So again, it leads us back to the question that we were just saying before. The question that we asked before was, where do we start? Well, the answer is, again, simplistic. We need to start with our relationship with God. Our relationship with God is our first starting point. Our spiritual relationship is our first starting point with God, our Creator. So I have a scripture that I would like to share with you, and this scripture is from Philippians 2:5. In your relationship with one another, have the same mindset as Jesus Christ. And I am reading from an NIV version. And as you guys may have noticed, as I was reading that, I had also added different versions of different Bibles. So you can see the parallels between those, how it relates to one another. Because sometimes people, they want to say, oh, it doesn't mean that in X. But remember what we said about being in simplicity can be complex. And that's a prime example. So even though that they're saying some are not using the word mindset, but that's what it is meaning. It's meaning the mindset. So we have to get our spiritual relationship correct first. So the key takeaway from the scripture, I think, is that mindset piece. Having the mindset and working with the spiritual level of our relationship with our Creator, this will help us understand what our purpose is. This will help us get more fulfillment out of our life. I feel like this is what people are needing. See, when we focus on the spiritual relationship first, it actually takes precedence over all the other relationships. Because if we get that mindset right, if we get that spiritual relationship, if we get that spiritual relationship in harmony, then everything else falls into place. But if we do not, then everything else is a domino effect. Meaning it's going to start to spill over into other aspects of your life. It spills over into your finances. It spills over into your health and your well-being and so on. The same problem is present in all relationships. The only time that you start to really get clarity on the other problems within the other relationships is when you do inner work And the best inner work is to have your spiritual work and to work through your spiritual work through your Creator, through God. Spiritual relationships, they're complex. I mean, we just said that relationships are complex in itself, but also simplistic. We have to put work in on our part. So I'd like to share another verse with you that will kind of bring it in and into all relationships. So, and this verse is from John 13:34. And again, I'm reading from the NIV. A new commandment I give to you. Love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. Not all families look the same. See, we are a family already. We are a family. We are the human family. We are God's family. So, when he says to love one another, he means love one another as you do yourself. I want you to think about it this way. When people go out and they either try to start their own business, or they try to become an entrepreneur, or they do a network marketing, or they do whatever it is that they try to do to better themselves in a financial state. Maybe get a better job, better career, go to school, go to college. If they win an award, things like that. Like when they have to give gratification or have to give a why. When someone has to give a why to something, most of the time, about 90% of the time, they are going to say, I did it. My why is my children, or my why is my wife, or my why is my so I can take care of my family, my mom, my dad. It all goes back to the same unit. It all goes right back. So the why is always the family. It's always the family, goes back behind the why. And this is important because, like I said, we are God's family. The human race is God's family. We're all one. We're all one. So let's take a look at family. And actually, in my opinion, I believe family stands for an acronym. And the acronym for family is the F stands for financial, A is for awareness, M is for multiply, I is for individual, and L is for legacy. And then Y is your why, because it always comes back full circle, always. So that is your why. Today we have been focusing on I in family, which is the individual. Understanding that mindset, and it brings us right back to Philippians 2:5. Brings us right back. And how we are supposed to achieve more conscious awareness with our Creator is through love. We practice that on a daily basis through love, and to love one another. That is what we do. that is how we start, is to love one another. And sometimes it's hard. It is. Sometimes it is. But that's okay. We're on this journey together. So remember, we're going to be working on the mindset. And we're going to be doing it through love. I'm excited to have this community with you guys, to grow this relationship with you and grow in different aspects of our life. So I just want you to remember, your spiritual DNA is perfect. It is perfect. And I hope I have inspired you. I want to say thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. And if you think that this information will benefit anyone else, please share it with them. I will be uploading on Fridays. Also, I'll have a newsletter linked below, so you guys can subscribe to that as well. And as my channel is growing, I'm going to be having on guest speakers on one of the playlists, and then also each topic that we talked about, I'm going to be diving in a little bit more about, and each topic that I'm going to be going into more detail about on this channel is going to have its own playlist, and it will have its own separate day. But I will be consistently posting on Fridays, but to watch out for what is new to come out on the channel, please subscribe to the news link below. Remember, we're going to be focusing on our spiritual relationship first, financial, health and wellness, parenting and family life, fitness, and career. So when you subscribe to the newsletter as well as to the channel, you will be getting a newsletter about these new upcoming dates and new releases. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is your host, Ruth, signing off. Shalom.